Convexity is a concept that shows up all over mathematics, and we might have heard about what a convex set might be, but not really have a sense of what it actually is. Now, the idea behind what a convex set is that inside the set, any 2 points can see each other. So for example, this set on the left, we see that the points P and Q can actually see each other within the set, and that's true for any pair of points P, Q in the set. Whereas on the right-hand side, the 2 points P and Q that we see here can't see each other at all within the set. Now, how do we actually work with this mathematically? This video is going to be an introduction to convexity, and I actually had to prove things are convex using a concrete mathematical definition of what this thing is. So stay tuned for this introductory video on what convex sets actually are, how to play with them, and how to see algebraically that a set, when given to you, is convex. Hey, welcome to today's video. I'm Prof. Omar. So this set on the left that we said was convex. So we have these 2 points P and Q, and they can see each other. So what that really means is that if we take these 2 points P and Q, the line segment between P and Q has to lie within the set. So it'd be good to describe what the points on this actual line segment are so we can work with the idea of convexity mathematically. Now the midpoint is the average of the 2 points, half P plus half Q. And there are other points on this line segment as well. So maybe, for example, the midpoint of P and this midpoint, which is half P plus half the midpoint, half P plus half Q. And if we work this out, this will be 3/4 P plus 1/4 Q. And so we're seeing that it seems like the points between P and Q are a weighted average of P and Q, where the sum of the coefficients has to be 1. So let's actually see that that's the case concretely. So if we think about a point X on the line segment between P and Q, we can describe it as P plus moving along the direction from P to Q, which is the vector Q minus P. So we're adding a scalar times the vector Q minus P. Okay, but what can that scalar be if we're supposed to lie on this line segment? Well, if T is 0, then this point is going to be P itself. And if T is 1, this point is going to be the point Q. So by the continuity of what's going on, the scalars we should be allowed to use to represent points on the line segment are the scalars between 0 and 1. And so we can actually rewrite this point X to see that it's the weighted average of P and Q by taking out the T coefficient and seeing that it's 1 minus T times P plus T times Q. Okay, so what is a convex set then? In general, in Rn, a set is going to be convex if, when we pick any 2 points, P and Q inside of it, the line segment between P and Q is going to be in the set, which we have a concrete definition of. So for any scalar T between 0 and 1, the point 1 minus T times P plus T times Q has to lie in our set, no matter what T between 0 and 1 we pick, and no matter what points P and Q we pick in our set. Okay, great. So now we have a concrete working definition of what convex is, and so we can start to actually algebraically see why sets are convex. So for example, here I've picked the set S, which is the set of points on one side of a line and on the line itself. So let's see that this is actually a convex set. We'll pick 2 representative points, x1, y1, which is P, and x2, y2, which is Q. Now, membership in the set S means that 2x1 plus y1 is less than or equal to 3, and 2x2 plus y2 is less than or equal to 3. So let's take a random point that's on a line segment between P and Q. It's going to look like 1 minus TP plus T times Q. And so its coordinates algebraically will be 1 minus tx1 plus tx2 in the left coordinate, and the right coordinate will have 1 minus ty1 plus ty2. So we want to check membership in the set S, which means looking at the expression twice the first coordinate plus the second coordinate. If we do that, we'll get exactly this expression right over here. And now it makes sense to group things based on the points P1 and P2. So we are P and Q. So we'll group together the stuff involving p, which is, if we pull out the factor 1 minus t times the quantity 2x1 plus y1. And then for the next point, we get t times the stuff with x2 and y2, which is 2x2 plus y2. Now 2x1 plus y1 is less than or equal to 3 because p is in the set S, and 2x2 plus y2 is also less than or equal to 3. So this quantity is going to be less than or equal to 3 times the quantity 1 minus t plus 3 times t. And we know that because t and 1 minus t are between 0 and 1, so they're actually both non-negative. Okay, and that sums to 3, so then we have that entire thing is less than or equal to 3, so that thing is in our set. Great. So that's a great first example. Now I'm going to bring an example that's actually a little bit more complicated algebraically, and that's the set of points that lie inside of a circle. So we can represent this algebraically. I'll assume the circle has a radius 1. So it's a set of points x, y, so that x squared plus y squared is less than or equal to 1. Let's use the definition of convexity to actually see that this set is convex, and we'll see that it's a little bit trickier than meets the eye. So we'll pick two representative points, p and q, inside of the set. P is x1, y1, q is x2, y2, just like we did earlier. Okay, so we want to show that 1 minus tp plus tq is actually in the set, knowing that 1 minus t and t are both non-negative. Okay, so like we did in the previous example, we can write out what the coordinates of this thing is going to be. It's 1 minus tx1 plus tx2. In the first coordinate and the second coordinate, we have 1 minus ty1 plus ty2. Now we want to check that this point is inside of our set, so we need to check that the sum of the squares of its coordinates is actually less than or equal to 1. So let's write down the sum of the squares of the coordinates, and then we're going to actually square these coordinates, but we're going to square them in a weird way. So the first coordinate we'll square by squaring the first term, then adding the square of the second term, and then subsequently writing in the cross term, which is 2t times 1 minus t times x1 times x2. Okay, now we'll do a similar thing with the second term that we're squaring. We'll have 1 minus t all squared y1 squared plus t squared y2 squared. And then we're going to add in that cross term, t2 times 1 minus, 2t times 1 minus t times y1, y2. Okay, so if we look at the underlying terms here, since x1 squared plus y1 squared is less than or equal to 1, because p is in our set, the entire red stuff is going to be less than or equal to, the underlined, straight underlined red stuff, is going to be less than or equal to the quantity 1 minus t all squared. Similarly, if we look at the purple squiggled parts, x2 squared plus y2 squared is less than or equal to 1. So the squiggled purple parts are going to be less than or equal to t squared. But then we have all of this other stuff, and it's not clear what to do with it. It's all of this stuff that's in the boxes right over here. So we have these two t 1 minus t terms, but it's unclear what to do with the x1, x2, y1, y2 part. That's where we have to add in some extra information. So if we look at the expression x1, x2 plus y1, y2, it actually turns out that it's less than or equal to the expression x1 squared plus y1 squared times the expression x2 squared plus y2 squared. And there are multiple reasons for this. One is you can use the Cauchy-Schwarz inequality, but I'll think about it more geometrically, which is equivalent actually. The left-hand side is the dot product of the vector x1, y1 with the vector x2, y2. And that's always less than or equal to the product of the squares of the lengths of the two vectors, and that's what the right-hand side is. So you get this inequality here. Now the sum of the squares of the coordinates of these 2 points is less than or equal to 1 because they lie in our set S. So if we look at the box term then, x1, x2 plus y1, y2 is less than or equal to 1. So the entire box term is going to be less than or equal to twice t times 1 minus t. So if we put all this together, we add these three underlined black terms here, It turns out their sum actually is exactly 1. So our entire expression is less than or equal to 1. And so this point, 1 minus TP plus TQ, is a member of our set. So an interesting, more complicated example of using the definition of convexity, but at least now we see how we can actually test algebraically that a given arbitrary set is convex, and we have a working definition of what a convex set is.